Hello and welcome. You are watching Musings by Amit, and this is a live show where I interview a lot of entrepreneurs on my show. Today's topic is future of IT industry. So what we are going to do is we are going to interview Mr. Anirudh Shrotriya, the managing director of Shro Systems, who is going to be live on our channel for today. So let's bring in Anirudh Shrotriya. Hi Anirudh.
Hi Amit, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I hope everything is working out in the pandemic.
Yeah, sure it is, and I think the pandemic has given all of us a lot to think about. So yeah, so far so good.
Okay. So Anirudh, let me introduce you to the audience. So Anirudh is a dynamic entrepreneur and he's been giving some innovative solutions for the last 24 years in the field of IT through his flagship company, Sro Systems, which he runs along with co-owner and director Vasudha Srotriya. Not only an astute businessman who has won multiple awards in this field, but has also served as a president of advisory board of HPE. He's also a flair for sports, with golf being his favorite, and he's adventurer at heart, mountaineering or scuba diving or skydiving. He's done everything. But recently, Shro Systems was awarded the COVID-19 Superhero Award by SME channels in India for an exemplary work done to serve customers with tech solutions for the workplace during this pandemic. So let's welcome Anirudh. Anirudh, a warm welcome from me and all my audience.
Thank you so much. Very happy to be here.
Yeah. So Anirudh, before we jump on the topic of future of the IT workspace, I wanted to ask you what is this COVID superhero that and how did Shro Systems get it?
Yeah, so Amit, SME channels came up with this unique concept of looking at a lot of companies like ours who, in the course of the pandemic, use technology as a great tool to make sure that work continuity happens. And if you look at it from everybody's view, the pandemic was challenging, was unprecedented, was something that nobody had planned for. But if you look at it, technology was the only single thing that helped reduce the impact of the pandemic in that sense, right? I'm not talking from a health point of view, but when you look at it from an economy and a business point of view, technology really helped customers tide over a lot of these situations. And we were at the heart of that, entire effort because we were helping customers, and many of our customers tide over this instantly. I remember the lockdown was announced and we had frantic calls, but we helped customers seamlessly transition from almost always on-premise business to a completely remote working business. And it is something that you don't plan for. A lot of people have their disaster recovery and BCP plans in their scheme of things, but nobody had planned for 100% BCP. Imagine having all your employees working from home, and how do you do
Right.
that? How do you even imagine
Right.
that? So at Show Systems, we did a couple of things, which we had already gone down that path. The digital transformation that we talk about is something that we had already planned, and a lot of our customers were on that journey, and that helped a lot. So a lot of customers were already adopted the cloud. Their applications were on cloud, so work from anywhere, access from anywhere. A lot of the VDI technologies were implemented by us for customers so that they can use their remote workspaces or their workspaces from wherever. And most importantly, the networks, right? We had this great concept and a slogan saying, people will move and they will move out of boundaries, will move from wherever they are, but
Right.
networks should follow. So wherever the
Right.
peoples are going, the network should not stop. It should follow the individual. So how do you give a very remote access to a customer, to an employee, but secure? It's as if he's sitting in the office. It's remote, but it is secure. It is great connectivity, and he's able to access all his work-based tools. How do you do that? So we use networking technologies to make sure that customers were able to seamlessly give connectivity Even if a person is sitting in Bhopal, or somebody sitting in Dibrugarh, or somebody sitting in Cochin, they were able to connect to their office networks, and they were able to do a secure transaction, and they were able to transact. This was the kind of work that we did, and it got recognized by SME channels. We did some use cases. There was a software development company, and they had a core group of 50 developers, which was very, very critical for them that they still remained operational in that pandemic time. I remember March, April. So we were able to ship some equipment of networks, which we were able to establish in everybody's homes. We went, our
Okay.
engineers went with special passes, and we implemented technology solutions in their homes, so they were able to connect to the software development global data centers, and they were able to operate, and they were able to deliver solutions. So I think overall, if you look, I believe that there are many organizations who are ahead in the technology curve of adoption, many of my customers, and some customers are behind. But the beauty, Amit, is that people who are behind, is not that they lost out. With a split decision and with the intent to spend money, they were able to buy technology and come up to speed. So even if they didn't have cloud, for example, is an instant on. Suppose you don't have cloud, you can just say today, I want to get onto the cloud. You have
Right.
great technology to migrate applications easily, old applications easily to the cloud. So that can happen instantly. Your networks can be deployed. So if you have the intent to spend money on technology, anything is possible. And that's the beauty of technology, which enables business to drive better business outcomes. And that is what excites
Okay.
us at Show, excites everybody.
So Anirudh, pandemic was difficult for everybody. Like it is one of the things that has happened after 100 years. Nobody can imagine this kind of a thing happening where each and every person in the world is locked down. He's inside. Like there were times when we were praying that we don't have to go to office on Monday, but since March, everybody is working from home, and nobody has gone to office. Now it feels like we want to go to office. Now a lot of my audience is either working in the IT industry or aspires to work in the IT industry. So what do you think post pandemic, where are we moving as far as the future of IT industry is concerned? Where do you think we are going?
A great question, Amit. And this has been very, very well deliberated by every single organization, analyst, and consultants. The future of the IT workplace is, or a workplace, is going to be hybrid, and it's a no-brainer. In fact, it's a given. Almost, if you ask employees, a lot of them will say, I prefer to work from home. But various roles and various
Right.
job functions will define where they have to work. But in general, all companies will now start offering a hybrid workplace a solution, which will mean that they can work from anywhere, anytime, but they will also have to come to offices and start making some critical functions. So maybe a certain amount of work will be done from the offices on a particular period of, suppose, a software release or a project release happening, or a key development that is happening, which requires collaboration. And there is a certain amount of requirement of resources that may not be available in the house, then people will collaborate in the office, but otherwise they will work. But the technology will be such that you can seamlessly, for a user, it will not matter whether he's in his house or whether he is in his office, and that technology will enable him to work from anywhere. But if you look at it a little bit more deeper, and you see what technology is going to be, kind of, if you look at the COVID stack, and we call it, in fact, the COVID-19 technology stack, or the technology basket that we offer at Stro, there are so many things that are important where customers and companies and employees have to embrace. One is collaboration tools, right? We are collaborating on a digital platform right now, but choosing the right platform which is secure, which has got a little bit of collaboration tools, aspects available. But more importantly, what is it that your company wants to do? If it is a collaboration of a workforce which is global, then there is a different collaboration tool that you need to choose. If it is local, what are the collaboration tools, and how much is the kind of technology going to be influential? So what is collaboration tool? Most importantly is cloud, right? When you look at a
Right.
technology point of view, you look at that AWS or Azure or Google, every one of them have great solutions. But again, what is the best technology solution that is suited for your application? So as a company, you have to sit down and decide your digital transformation journey. And within the digital transformation journey, all of this comes. So one is collaboration tools, I said, one is cloud, and very important that your old legacy applications can now easily be migrated to the cloud. You don't have to be cloud native in your applications. There are so many jobs that are now available in the market where engineers and software professionals can become relevant by migrating old applications, which are legacy applications, and migrate them to the cloud. There are so many tools available. Companies like VMware offer a seamless migration of a hybrid environment where an application can reside on the data center one day, and the next day it can just completely expand into the cloud and come back and forth. Right? We call that repatriation. But very important is to ensure that the technology that you choose is the right technology, and we kind of help people with that consultancy. And then I
So
said network,
yeah.
and then I said, for example, VDI, virtual desktop interface. Again, a technology where there is going to be so much of innovation, but engineers and professionals can hone their skills around this virtualization technology, because the explosion of remote data for workforce and requirements of VDI as a technology is going to be so humongous that we require professionals to manage that entire process, tools, analytics, data, backups. There's so many things that happen behind of this technology. So companies will start embracing the skill sets and will want people to come in and work on these technologies. So
so so if I'm
these
a
are some of them.
Yeah, so if I'm an engineer who's working in the IT field, what do you think? Which are the technologies currently at the top, or which are the technologies now people are focusing on, so that I can get the best benefit of this situation, where I know that in the next 2-3 years time, if I focus on these technologies, my career is secure, or whatever you call it. So, what are those technologies? The
So
top.
Amit, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are many, right? I mean, if you look at it and see, one of the things that excites me about this is that India is a growing economy. It's got a great momentum. So COVID has obviously given a situational issue to us, and in terms of we are slowing down. But the excitement is the fact that technology is going to drive so many things, and so much of innovation is now going to come out. In fact, we have reduced that gap 3-4 years. What we would have taken to reach where we are right now, it is kind of advanced and come a
Correct.
little earlier is good for us and good for everybody in the jobs market, because now the relevant skills can be acquired, and then you have a job, and the jobs are waiting, in fact, for people who are rightly skilled. So when you look at top jobs or top technologies, cloud computing tops it anyway, right? So you please get your certification. If you are not, get your AWS certification, get your Azure certification, develop your skills around container technologies. HP just launched a platform called Esmeral. There are many people who are launching new software platforms. So please understand a little bit more about how containers work. They kind of shorten the development cycles, and everything will then happen with those technologies in the future. So you have to start your path right now. Look at deep learning, machine learning, AI, and
Correct.
augmented reality. And if you look at that stack, look at NVIDIA for an example, Amit. Let me take NVIDIA
Okay.
as an example. And look at the rise of that company. It was still till some few years back, people thought about it as a graphics card company, but it has gone. It has gone much more than that. If you look at their the new launched AI box called the DGX 800, it is a supercomputer which will help you develop your deep learning, machine learning projects, where you can simulate those projects and build it for any industry, not only for software. So if you're looking
Right.
at AI ML, there is huge amount of job creations that are happening there. Customers are wanting people there. Data science, and the other thing is data science or data as general. Data is the new oil, as they call it. If you look at data analytics, big data, Hadoop as a platform, many of these jobs will now happen around how do you manage your data, how do you make meaningful data analytics out of whatever you have, because people will now start relying more on how technology will help them, their businesses, in through this pandemic. So they will rely back on a lot of the digital transformation projects. So look at data and everything around data. Look at AI, ML, augmented reality, for example. With
Right.
the COVID pandemic, just the use case, right? Amit, a manufacturing customer has got a huge amount of machinery in their workforce. How do they
Correct.
use robotics, and how do they use
Right.
augmented reality to go into that shop floor and make sure that servicing, repairs, or troubleshooting happens on huge machinery, right? You cannot move machinery. So how
Correct.
do you take a simulated environment and solve problems at the workplace wherever there's a pandemic and there's a shutdown or a lockdown. Still, how augmented reality can help. How do you train new engineers when new engineers come in
Correct.
into the workforce? How do you train them, right? If you look at it, AI and augmented realities can help. You can have a virtual classroom, but you require equipment, you require hands-on. But you can create all of that through a 3D modeling and through a lot of augmented reality and simulate and give that experience of working on a probably a full-fledged car or a machine or whatever it is. And those kind of
Okay.
technologies are advancing very fast. So yeah, many of them, I can keep talking on it, but yes, definitely. But one thing is for sure, Amit, that if whatever skill sets you have, if you are going to remain with that, it's not going to work. This is a
Correct.
time that you have to reskill yourself and reskill fast because in the industry, whichever industry, software or manufacturing, is going through a metamorphosis, a change that is happening, and they're adopting digital
Correct.
transformation very, very rapidly. So you have to be reskilled, otherwise you stand to lose out.
So all the audience who's watching this program, I would like to reiterate that Anirudh mentioned about all these technologies, which we also have been talking about on our channel, that these are the kind of the high paying jobs of the future. These are the jobs which are going to be very important. And it is not just knowing one programming language will help you as a software engineer or to get into IT. You will need some kind of an expert certification, maybe an AWS certification, Azure certification, or a data science certification to become better in your job. So Anirudh, we talked a lot about the IT industry as a whole, but how do you see the change happening after pandemic with respect to the other industry, the traditional industry? What are they doing? What is their mindset at this moment after the pandemic? Are they adopting IT at a faster rate? What is happening?
Yeah, so Amit, it's my experience, and we've been in this business for now 32 years plus, and we've seen a great deal of changes and shifts that has happened in the economy. Nothing like what has happened now. And the pandemic is obviously, but we've gone through the Y2Ks. We've gone through so many different shifts that happened over this last 32 years, which has given us this experience to deal with this in a very, very different way. But if you look at industries, and every industry is in fact going through this entire difficult phase. But if you look at many of these industries outside of software are adopting technologies not because they are forced to, because now they realize that they have the pace of business and the outcomes that they want to drive can only happen through technology. So earlier, CIO of a manufacturing customer or any pharma industry had a very different role, but today he's on the hot seat. The pandemic has glorified and has in fact given the publicity and the importance, due credit to a CIO, which was not probably there earlier. But
Right.
his policies and his drive and his adoption of digital technologies is what will define how the company will perform. So I think
Correct.
we've seen customers go, as I said earlier, adopt technologies very fast. We call them early technology adopters, and there are many of
Yeah.
them. The CIOs are very aggressive in what they want to implement. In any new technology which comes in, they want to implement and make the company up to date. But there are certain customers who are very behind because they want to wait and watch. Those customers are now making a faster move.
Faster move.
I'll take example of RPA, and if you see robotic process automation, again a very great job creator, right? Because
Right.
if you look at monolithic and very old applications, and you look at an environment of a manufacturing customer or any other big industry, they've got multiple applications and maybe a big ERP like SAP, which is there as a central
Right.
application, and they've got a lot of other different applications which feed data and they connect into each other. A lot of these processes are manual still, and there are many of these errors and human errors which drive a lot of efficiency issues. When you look at
Correct.
RPA, they can completely automate all of this and create process bots, which will then start automating this process to give and drive efficiency. And look at the job creations. If you have programming skills, what that is all that is needed. You just need to now hone your skills on being a bot expert, right? A bot creator.
Right.
And,
Yes.
you look at automation anywhere. Look at UiPath. Look at Blue Prism. These are all RPA companies, and they're doing extremely well. Follow them understand what their needs are, but there are so much of RPA adoption that is happening as part of Industry 4.0 as well. That it is in fact very good. So as an example, I took RPA, but technology as a whole is getting adopted very well, and because of technology adoption, jobs will be created, and very different jobs will be probably available in the market.
So, Anirudh, this question is a little bit different question. I was reading some news, and in that there was Infosys and Cognizant, and all these companies are now announcing promotions. They are saying that it looks like their order pipeline is very high. So, has it happened that for the IT companies, for the software companies, or even the hardware companies, there have been more orders during the pandemic than it was before? Did this change happen?
I don't think it's a short-term strategy. I think all these IT companies are investing very heavily on innovation, and
Okay.
there's a big task force that is created, which is driving, and that is what I was talking about skill sets. They have identified people who are creative, people who are innovative, and now
Right.
earlier there was a small division, but now there is a big workforce created within IT organizations, which are only driving innovation in the future technologies. And let's
Okay.
face it, Amit, the future is digital, and the future
Right.
and companies are going through digital transformation projects. So if anybody, any IT industry or any software company has to succeed, it has to start innovating and building their products to the next level. I think that's
Right.
what is happening. They are going absolutely aggressive in the markets to look at their customer base and then offering them digital transformation projects. And customers are lapping it up because they now have realized that with COVID, there cannot be anything that they cannot be prepared for in the future. They want to be prepared for 100%. So they're investing their finances in the right places. So, and if you look at it, it is not very difficult to understand this because everybody will like to have predictability in business, but more importantly, not any disruption any further. So if it is completely automated and digital, then I think
Right.
companies will work. So I think that's what is happening. But yes, I would agree to a certain extent that there was initial great demand on work from home devices, on technology, on data center, transformations on cloud. That kind of has a little bit died down, but again, it is picking up. Luckily, in India, the festive season is around the corner. There's a great amount of positivity in people's minds, and industries are coming back to the fact that they have to now make sure and make an aggressive push. So I think the overall economy is pushing going forward. I'm optimistic about it,
Okay.
and I never felt that we are in any kind of danger, except the fact that there was a slight slowdown. So,
Yes.
but yeah, I think it's going to happen.
So Anirudh, one question I had was that from whatever conversation we are having, uh, there is so during this pandemic, what is one story that stands out for you that happened during, like, when maybe somebody, they did not have the capability to go and work from home, or anything, any story which stands out during this pandemic for you, which is related to your business?
I think there are many, and we started within internally at Show. We started a Show Hero kind of a hashtag Show Heroes concept every in March itself, and many of our engineers and many of our frontline staff worked throughout the pandemic with special passes, risking their lives. And there was many incidents. One of them was a customer coming to us and telling that it's complete lockdown, the streets were completely empty, and he had a big issue in his data center, and his entire compute and storage were down, and he could not, and his remote workforce
Right.
was paralyzed. And
Right.
we dispatched our engineers. He went with a PPE kit. We dispatched our. So there was a team of software, engineers who were in the office. Sorry, in their homes, but there were some field engineers which went to the data center, opened it up. We resolved the problem. Made the storage and the compute cluster up, and the other engineers then did a remote login. They solved the problem, and within, I think, 7 hours or 8 hours, we were able to kind of power up the entire infrastructure, and
Right.
people started working. What actually happens here is this: just the fact that customers then started valuing relationships. This pandemic brought out relationships in a very different way.
Correct.
People started testing relationships, right? If a customer called me up
Yes.
and I could have easily said, I cannot do it. But if I said yes and I delivered on that promise, I became a hero for him, right?
Right.
And for me, that person who went out, risked his life. We all were inside our houses,
He's
but
a
he went
hero.
and risked his life and went out there in the field and made things happen. For me, he's a
Correct.
hero. So the relationships changed and the dynamics kind of built up. One of the things I'll again mention here is I talk about it is about the gig economy, and I think what will happen, Amit, is the Indian economy will kind of now develop with the new generation coming into the workforce, will develop into a more gig economy, kind of a economy where people will work in gigs, will work in super specializations, right? A lot of
Correct.
people will be laid off from their jobs, but they will acquire skills, and those skills will be relevant to certain organizations in certain times, and those
Correct.
will happen. So, a person can have a certain skill set, and he'll work for a year for that within that skill set for a particular company. Then he will again acquire a new skill, and then he'll work and take a gap, and again work on a new project. And
Correct.
that kind of gigs will now start taking more precedence,
Start
and
happening.
super specializations of skills will be important. So somebody who's an RPA skill, for example, or something in AI ML,
Right.
suddenly the technologies will start becoming redundant and old, and then you'll start acquiring a new skill. So gone are the days, I think, where people will be stuck in a job or will do a job for maybe 8 years, 10 years.
Right.
People will start working in smaller gigs, will start working and that is also, I'm talking about the new generation that is coming. They will think like that. But the pandemic has forced us
Force
to
us to think this
honor people's on skill sets. As a company, I am hiring very regularly. I hire
way. Right.
people on based on their skills, but I am looking at specializations every time. So maybe
Correct.
I'll keep acquiring people and then letting people go, and that will kind of have a
Right.
rotational effect. But it will also take the economy a little forward, and
Yeah.
those
So
kind
on
of
this,
economic.
yeah, so on this channel, actually, we focus a lot on specialization. I talk a lot about specialization, and I tell engineers that don't think about your uh, job as a programming language that you know. Don't think about just focusing on one programming language. With one programming language, whether you are doing cloud computing, whether you are doing full stack development, whether you are going into RPA or you are going into Salesforce automation, whatever different kind of. So previously IT industry was very focused on one programming language as such, if
Correct.
you talk about
Correct.
the 2 decades back. But now you can be specialized in one thing which you are a master of, and that can help you grow to the next level of success. So I think, Anirudh,
Absolutely.
yeah, we have discussed a lot of things. Let us see if there are any audience who can ask us any questions, and see if these questions are relevant to our topic. So our topic today is the future of IT industry post pandemic, and we are going to take questions only on based on that. So I'm going to skip Sridhar. I'm going to skip some questions which may not be related to that. So I have Vaishak. Anirudh sir, do you think data science analyst bubble is about to burst? What do you think about that, Anirudh?
I don't think so. I think this technology stack is very relevant today, and in fact, more of this will be required as you grow forward. And companies will require a lot of data scientists. They will require a lot of analysts because the data is getting generated at a very phenomenal place. And as you digitize, as you drive digital transformation projects in your company, you will create so much of data, and that data needs to be analyzed, needs to be channelized, decision making needs to happen. So you need to be able to kind of crunch the data and analyze it. In fact, I feel there is a great amount of demand for this kind of skill set, and companies will keep investing and will keep looking at this in the future. And even more so with the digitization, I think it's going to be more relevant.
So one thing to always remember is that data science is not new. Data, we always worked on data within software. The only thing now is that we have so many good tools available that we can process massive amounts of data, and that's the advantage. at present, if you are using a mobile phone, your mobile phone is constantly capturing everything that you are doing. So that is the beauty about data science and all this analysis that is happening on the basis of data science. Sudhanshu, you are asking which programming language should you learn, and don't focus on programming language. Think about some kind of specialization. That is what we are talking about here. Hi Manan, very good afternoon. Manan is a regular viewer of our show, Anirudh, and he's
Hi,
always
Manan.
there in the show. Yogendra, how are you enabling work from in this situation? So Anirudh, anything about enabling work wherever you have done this?
So I think a couple of things, right? When you look at work from home, I think VDI as a technology, I mentioned it, but VDI is played a great amount of role in enabling customers to adopt remote working. What is very important is security, right? So you don't want your employee working from somewhere and not having the right security practices and protocols in place. So VDI as a technology, VMware, Citrix, become certified in those technologies also. They've got great market potential. Also very important is how to check productivity of employees, right? If your employees are now working, or if you are a manager or you're working in a group, how do you check the productivity of that project, the timelines? How do you collaborate? How do you make sure that you're on the time and you're on the productivity? It can happen that employees are losing a lot of hours in wasteful work. And then there are a lot of tools, and then we have a company called Sapiens. You can go look it up. Offers a
Yes.
lot of solutions around how an employee is working, what is the project timelines, what is it that it is making an employee do, the productivity aspect of it. And very important is again implementing the right tools, like Amit said. So if you have the right tools in place, I think the overall work from home situation can become absolutely real. And Amit, I think almost 50% of the companies will make a decision to extend work from home
Right.
for a greater amount of time. And we've heard a lot of analysts saying a lot of data coming in 38%, 76%. A lot of this goes up and back and forth. But in general, the hybrid workplace will remain. But a majority of software developers and software houses will continue to work from home because they drive more digitization and digital transformation. They don't want employees probably to come back into workplaces for various reasons. And then it is important to have the right tools and the right technology so that the work from home becomes productive rather
Right.
than going
Right.
backward. So at Show
Right.
Systems, we have is used, as I said, a huge basket of solutions, which are not only for collaboration, cloud, network. I'll just give you one example, Amit, and again, since you mentioned, there's something called as networks, which is Aruba, right? Aruba is a
Right.
brand which is the software layer. It focuses much on the software layer of the network. But using Aruba, we can do contact tracing. Imagine a company
Right.
which is manufacturing cars, and it has got a huge yard of cars, and it has got a huge factory. There are thousands of workers coming. One
Right.
person tests positive, for example. What
Correct.
happens to that person? How do you contact trace? How many people has he really met? With use of
Right.
technology and with use of networks, with location-based technology,
Okay.
beacons and contact tracing, and a Bluetooth which is enabled on your mobile phone, you can track where all he went and create a dashboard of analysis and data which can be presented to the HR or the gate security, saying that these all people were in contact with this person, quarantine those people immediately. Just
Right.
a small use case or a safe distancing band. So in a shop floor where they are manufacturing car parts, how far apart should they be? So if they
Correct.
come next to each other, a beep comes and a dashboard, and the supervisor comes to know that they are now closer to each other. How
Correct.
can technology help not only working from home, how working back to factory, right? Back to
Right.
work, back to
Back to
offices.
work.
How can
Yes.
technology help make sure that the productive happens? That's why I'm saying that it's a hybrid model. It is not
Right.
going to be the same again. It's a new normal, but
Yes.
very exciting. I mean, very, very exciting.
Yes. So Yogendra, one more thing is that we would not be doing this event online, on live, if technology was not able to enable us to do this event. So you can see that during the pandemic, a lot of event went online. Even your comedy shows went online. TV
Right.
shows are happening without audiences. IPL is happening without an audience, and all because of the technology which is enabling all this. So today
Since
I'm just going to
Amit,
take, yeah,
Amit, since you mentioned IPL, I'll just use an example. Look at the match which happened. Tewatia just
yes,
scored. Look at Tewatia and look at Puran, right? The
right,
West Indies fielder who fielded, who did an
yes,
mind-blowing save. When you look
yes,
at those two examples, you look at super specialization and skill reskilling. If you look at what has Puran done, he was in a wheelchair. He had an accident. He had a car accident in 2015. He was in bed for 6 months. He was not able to walk for 1 year. From
okay,
2015 situation, he is today the most athletic catch in the history of cricket has been taken by him. Can you
yeah,
believe it? What did he do? He just focused on his skill set of his fielding and his fitness level. He was able to create an impact so great and so huge that it is now ensured that he will be the go-to man. Because so
correct,
you look at it from a super specialization perspective. Look at Tewatia. I mean, he trained to hit sixes. If you
correct,
go back to the history of the dressing room, they were before this match they were training them to hit sixes, and this person was consistently hitting 5 to 6 sixes in an over. In
right,
that match, the first 20 balls he was not able to score, but the belief that the team had on him that he is a
correct,
specialist six hitter of sixes, and that is why that is what got him his job. So when you
yeah,
go down and look at parallels, you look at it that people will come in for gigs. Tewatia will
correct.
not play every match, but he'll play certain matches where the speciality of his skill will be required. Puran will play a certain match where the speciality of his skill will be required. Gone are the days of the all-rounders. It is the super specializations and specializations which will work.
Yeah. So, friends, the thing is that I'm seeing a lot of questions, but most questions are not related to our today's topic, which is the future of IT workspaces. We will only be taking questions related to future of IT workspaces and anything related to that. If you have other questions, then you can always come to my show on Thursday, which happens at 9:05 p.m., where I answer all the questions, even the most mundane question you have, that I'll answer. But for today's topic, future of IT workspaces, I would request you to ask me questions only related to that. So if you have any questions related to the future of IT workspace, then let me know, because I have other questions which I don't think are directly related, okay, which I can answer at a later point. At this point, we want ideas from Anirudh, who's been in the industry for last 25 years, and he's working with show systems which completed 30 years in 2 years back, which congratulations to you, Anirudh. But
Thank you so much.
so he has such a deep insight about the IT industry. So whatever you have question about IT industry, you can ask, which are a little bit broader question which Anirudh can answer. How to prepare for a high package job will not be taken up here. Uh, how important will data
Again,
structure
I
not
mean,
here?
high package jobs, simple answers, super specialized, get a skill set, come into the cloud technology, you will always get a job. Cloud, hone your skills around networking, you'll get a job. Hone your skills around RP, you'll get a job. I mean, it's a no-brainer. There are enough jobs for those situations. And those are high paying. Data science, again. But
Correct.
you have to be good at it. You cannot just complete a course. You have to have the skill
Be
sets
really good
and
at it.
you have to be good at it. Yeah.
So one thing you have to understand, all those people who are asking questions, that along with whatever you can be managing cloud, you can be a software engineer, you can be into support, you can be into quality, but along with that, you need some kind of specialization. You need one specialization which will take you to the next level. This specialization can be within your own field. If you're in QA, maybe you can do test automation, maybe you can go into automation and other things. You can also go into RPA, because it is all connected. When you understand test automation, you can also design RPA systems. So you will have to do this kind of specialization. There is one question which I feel we can take it up here, about from Simshri Panchal. Hi sir, do you know what is SAP hybris commerce? Do you have any idea about that, Anirudh?
Hybrids,
Hybris
no,
commerce.
so SAP HANA as a platform has a cloud platform which they offer as a consumption model. And SAP as SAP HANA is a great job creator, absolutely fantastic platform. If you are SAP, if you have the SAP skills, absolutely you are in the right place, because that technology, or SAP as in general, is going to be adopted by everybody, but it is going to be more on the cloud now, and it's got a lot of requirements of customers who will be moving from whatever database they are on. They will be going on to the HANA database, and that itself is a great avenue for jobs. And when you look at SAP in general, again a very important specialization that one can have, and you can super specialize within that. But as you should know that the adoption of SAP on the cloud is fastest growing. If you, in fact, just look at it for the parallel, Amit, AWS, right? If you're an
Right.
AWS certified professional, and within
Correct.
that you super specialize within an SAP on AWS or SAP on
Correct.
Azure,
Yeah.
you're getting one step ahead, and you're then saying
Correct.
that you are now a specialist on SAP on cloud, and that
Correct.
itself opens up so many doors of high-paying jobs.
Okay, okay. So, Shamshi, I think you got your answer. We have Prince who is giving you congrats to Anirudh, great sir, on completion in the IT
Thank you.
industry. Uh,
Thank you.
so, I think we have already covered. Sudhir is asking what will be the impact of cloud technology in future. I think Anirudh, what you can do is you can sum up that what do you see in the next 2-3 years
Yeah.
with respect to this future, and then we will close this event, because I think we are at that time. I think Anirudh has
Yeah.
something to attend. So let's take this
Yeah.
question. If there are no more questions, we can move forward. Yeah.
So, to sum it up, I think cloud in general, as cloud technology as a technology, is going to be absolutely relevant. It is going to evolve. It is going to innovate. Just think about it. Just 1 minute, think about it. Microsoft's valuation or AWS's valuation is gone through the roof. They have become so absolutely so valuable that it is only because they have the right technology. So cloud technology will remain relevant to the future, in the immediate future, in the distant future. So whether it's public cloud platforms, hybrid cloud platforms, a lot of people will build cloud within their companies, within their data centers, and then they will kind of broadcast it out, or they will adopt public cloud SaaS models. A lot of companies will start offering solutions as cloud as a service. They will kind of not give you an option of on-premise. HPE, the
Right.
biggest IT hardware company, has made a commitment that by 2022, every single of their solutions will be available as a consumption model, which is a cloud model.
Right.
It is
Correct.
completely changing the entire shift to a cloud technology. So
Correct.
if you have to make your big bets, make it around cloud
Cloud.
technologies, make it around RPA, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. Look at SAP, as I said, networks. If you're interested in network automation, software-defined networking, again, great area to be in. Collaboration tools, anything which is around connecting people, connecting offices, connecting workplaces. Again, a very great topic to focus on. So a lot to learn from, and we are doing that, as a company multiple times. So I think it's the same thing. We can keep going on and on, but
Yeah.
broadly, this is the main gist of it. Focus around
Yeah.
these areas. Cloud tech in the future, definitely a big yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, Sudhir, I think you got the answer. Anirudh, one last question. This is very interesting. Anirudh, sir, can you explain your journey in IT industry, different roles in your career, and what is the future scope of Android and web development? Could you please guide us in these fields? So, Anirudh, the future of Android and web development is fine. Hello? I think I lost Anirudh for a moment. Hello? Hello? So I think I lost Anirudh for a moment. I don't know whether his internet connection went down or something. We were just wrapping up with this particular session. Manan, I'm really sorry that I will just see if Anirudh is coming online. But as far as future scope, okay.
Small
Yeah, Anirudh, I
error.
think we lost your connection for a little while. Sorry, this is the
Yeah.
last question I want to take.
Okay.
I want you to take the question about explain your journey in the IT industry. Because as far as scope of Android and web development is concerned, I will take that question on my Thursday live podcast. But for
Okay.
Manan, can you just explain your journey in the IT industry?
So Manan, I think to just simply answer that, I've done various things as a company. We did various things, and as an individual. But the only thing that I kind of kept constant is kept changing my skill sets and my approach. My business has transformed into multiple things. What we were doing 20 and 30 years back, we are not doing. Every 3 years, we have done a shift in the business. We have adopted the newest technology. Always been first to look at the new technology trend and adopt it. We never stayed more than 2 to 3 years on that technology. For for me, it is important that I define that as a technology leader in the business right now, we've got multiple avenues to expand our businesses. But for example, cloud. Whenever cloud was happening, maybe about 5 years back or 4 years back, we started a cloud computing company. Whenever there is a RPA requirement, we started and tied up with an RPA company, and we started RPA as a process. So we have
Right,
gone through the journey. What is a simple thing to always follow is follow the technology trends like NVIDIA. We are an NVIDIA partner for deep learning technology,
right,
and we are kind of helping customers implement deep learning technologies. Why? Because look at the market caps of companies. Look at what these Microsofts or AWS, anybody who has got a great $1 billion market valuation is doing something right. Follow those leaders. Don't overthink it, and be in that space of your super specialization. And that's what exactly what we have done.
okay. So I think we had a very good chat with Anirudh. And I also need to tell the audience that Anirudh is a very good friend of mine from the college, from 91 to 95. We both were in the same college, same class. We have worked a lot together. We run a software company together for about 11 years when we were working together. So he's agreed to do this podcast for all of you in future of IT industry after the pandemic. I wanted to bring somebody who has a very deep insight into this. So thank you, Anirudh, very much for coming on our show. And I know the time is of
Absolutely.
essence. Yeah.
So Amit, before I end, one thing I probably wanted to also add further. Future of IT workspaces is all not about work. It's also about fun. How can
Right.
technology collaborate to have fun, right? I mean, just think about it. You're working the whole day. You're on the screen. How can technology enable fun, right? And this is what we did in our company. Our co-director Vasudha, she kind of started an initiative around employee engagement. And one of the things I'll share, and many things in initiatives that were started, we started a digital Ludo competition and a digital housey
Okay.
competition using collaboration. We did that for
Right.
customers and we did that for employees. Believe me,
Wow.
all those CIOs, all the people who never used to come to our events when we organized in the hotels, turned up for this event, and
Yeah.
this was a great way to collaborate. So, how can technology bring relationships and people together is very
Yeah.
important. So, don't neglect the fact that in the hurry to become super specialized, don't forget to make sure that your relationships and use technologies to have fun, relax, chill a little bit. Like I said, the digital housing concept was super fun, right? And we gave out
Right.
prizes, and employees enjoyed it, customers enjoyed it. A Ludo competition, imagine run over 7 days. And as you look at that concept and you allude into esports is a great industry. Again, very good for job creation. The future of sports stadiums is gone almost for a while. It is going to be
Right.
esports, which is going to take center stage, and esports
Yes.
is going to have a
Yes.
bigger. So digital Ludo may be a very small part of that, but again, it is alluding into the esports industry, and that is what
Correct.
I think we believe at ecosystems. That is not only about work; it's also about fun. Pandemic or no pandemic, we believe in ensuring that employees and people stay together. And Vasudha has done a great job about it. And we, in fact, enjoying that fact that technology is enabling that process. So anyway, I can keep talking, but yeah, we have
Yes,
another
yes. I think,
session with them.
yeah, I think it was a fun interview, and I really got a lot of insights. I am sure that my audience who's watching now and who's going to watch after this is going to get a lot of insights. And one one last thing that everybody has to remember is specialize in something, and don't worry
Yeah,
about high paying jobs. High paying jobs will come to you
they will
if you
come.
start specializing in something. Okay. Thank you very much,
Absolutely.
Anirudh. Have a good day. Have a great day. I think
Thank
it's
you.
time for your next meeting. Bye.
Yes.
See
Enjoy,
you.
and thank you for having me, Amit. Great,
Sure.
and wishing Musings by Amit continued success and luck.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.